Okay, let's get started. Welcome to the Agent Q&A. You got your host here. My name is John. You got Joanne.
Hi, everyone.
So, anything new in the last couple of weeks as far as contracting?
So as far as contracting, something that is continuously happening is we're having glitches with NLC, with next level contracting, for those agents that were a part of Family First Life. I want to say coming on before July.
Okay.
So the issue is that some agents haven't, they didn't submit their contract for America when they barely got hired, right? Or when they barely joined, basically.
Okay.
And so what's happening is that some of these individuals are wanting to submit their America contract now. And so they're unable to do it in SureLC, and they're also unable to do it in NLC.
What?
Yeah. And so the reason for that is because that's because your NPN number needs to be validated. So we need to make sure that everybody goes through some sort of validation. So everyone's going to be going through different types of validation. Sometimes it'll automatically populate for you guys to validate this information, but sometimes it's not populating a pop-up that sends you guys to validate your NPN, or it just doesn't allow the agents to do that. So
is it because of the emails?
Yeah, so it has to do with support. What they're doing is that they're manually generating a pop-up for all of the individuals that are stating that they want to contract with America that have grayed out states. So basically what's happening is that you guys are able to kind of go through the contracting portion of NLC. However, the states are grayed out when you guys are selecting them. And the reason for that is because your NPN has not been verified with NLC. So then
I've had that issue.
Yeah. So then it grays out all of the states. And so
then the glitch is like, it says, please select states.
And it
then
doesn't have any state.
Forward.
Yeah. So that's what's happening. So if that's happening to you guys, just let me know, send me a text or send me an email, just let me know. And then we can send support an email to get you guys to generate a pop-up for you guys so that you guys can validate your NPN number and then continue on to NLC and do that.
Yeah, I've helped
America contracting.
One of my downlines, Antonio, they were like stuck on it for hours. And I said, okay, let's go on Zoom. Let me see what it shows.
And everything. Yeah.
And then it kept on having an error, and I was sending you pictures, right?
Yeah. Well, that's
but for some reason, if this happens to you guys, go in. I got around it by clicking add another carrier while I'm on there, or add another state.
Okay.
Something. I just clicked it, and then it let me move forward, and it
worked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so hopefully that's gonna get fixed. But yeah. For anything else, let us know. Initially, the best thing is if you guys are getting stuck, here's what's going to happen. If you're a brand new agent or you're a manager, you're hiring someone, the worst thing you want to do is you send them an invite, you leave it alone. You're thinking your agent is doing it. The downline is thinking you're going to help them, and then nothing moves. And then next thing you know, they're ready to go write business, or they're starving to write business, and they still don't have agent numbers. Okay, so for anybody hiring, recruiting, bringing someone on, the fastest way to do it is you invite them on HTMS. Make sure they complete the HTMS that same day you invited them. And FYI, you only invite HTMS accounts on licensed agents. You don't do that for pre-licensed agents. You got to send them the Excel link. But once they have it, let them finish that up that same day, because it takes a few days to get agent numbers and get that rolling. Okay, so be ahead of the curve. If anything, worst case scenario, we try not to do it, but be on a Zoom call with them, help them and get used to it and go from there. So we're going to open it up for questions. We got a few people here. Fire away. Anybody that wants to unmute.
I don't know that it's us.
Hi.
Hey, Linda.
Hey, Linda.
How are you guys? I definitely have a question. Okay. I do have 3 agents that are currently preparing for the test.
Okay.
And so with the problems that I've been having is just being able to communicate with the vendors, like with certain ones like Global. I have a client that actually wants to do a fixed annuity, and I'm ready for him, but Global has not accepted me yet or given me a writing number. So calling them, basically they're like, just, you have to wait. So those are the challenges when I finally get someone in and locked in, and there's like $150,000 deposit. What do you do about that? Is there like an alternative company to go with, or?
Yes. Okay, so let's start off
Hello,
with.
guys. There's food.
So first off, you said something about global, but you're doing a fixed index annuity. Okay, so
It's a
are you
fixed-
using Global Atlantic?
Green.
Yeah, Global Atlantic.
Okay, Global Atlantic is great for IULs, so which is a fixed index universal life versus fixed index annuity.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so which one are you doing?
I think it's a fixed. It could be a fixed index annuity. I know there's two because he actually has
While you froze, let me expand on that. There's two types. So, oh, is she back?
it out of his bank account because his bank account is like 50. Can you hear me?
We heard nothing. Something bank account.
Oh,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Okay, so his bank account has $350,000
Hey,
in it. And so I
okay.
explained to him, he's only 30 years old, that the FDIC only secures about 250,000 of that. So
Right.
I convinced him to kind of put 150,000
Okay.
into like a fixed annuity or a IUL,
Got
something
it.
where he can get a hold to it if he wants to,
Correct.
like after 7 years or so.
Okay. Okay. So let
So
me, I'm going to back up for the new agents and explain the two differences. Okay. So there's a fixed index annuity. It's a
yes.
contract. It's more of an investment contract, right? IULs can be used as an investment, but the IUL, which is called an index universal life, the IUL is a life insurance product. The annuity is more of a contract for an investment product. Okay. So there is no qualification when you do an annuity. You don't have to have a client, with medical conditions to get declined from it. The qualifications is not on the health. It's qualifications is called the suitability on their financial status. Okay. So I would recommend doing the fixed index annuity that's going to grow with their money. So all you're telling them, this is the basic concept of an annuity. You're giving them the money to the insurance company. The insurance company is going to reinvest that with you with the promise in a contract of either like a pension plan, a lifetime income, or a promise to grow with a secured floor. Okay. It's the same method for an IUL. The difference on the IUL side is that the IUL does require a life insurance product on top of it. And it uses a small portion of their cost of insurance, and then you have the death benefit, and then you have the cash value. You could do both. He has 350,000. You tell him, why hold 250 in your bank account? How much is it growing? You're actually losing money. The more you hold your money onto the savings account, it grows at 0.0 something percent interest rates. Okay, inflation is
exactly
8 to 9.1. There you go. Go ahead.
That's exactly what I want to do. Of course, I'm a new agent, so I don't know exactly the process. So
Okay.
one
So
of
this is
the
the next
senior,
step. So the
yeah,
first step is Global Atlantic. Global Atlantic is a good company for IULs, not for annuities. So the other company
okay,
that you want to use for annuities is called Athene. Okay, so you
Athene,
got to get you
yes.
contracted with Athene. First and
I'm
foremost,
She has a theme. Yeah.
oh, then you're set. So all you got to do is go to fflams.com. You can
Okay.
create an illustration, put in the client's information, or you can talk to one of us. You got Albert, that's actually the annuity director. So this is how simple it is. You just explain to the client, look, we have a way to grow your money without loss on principal. Plain and simple. So what that means is think of it like a long-term CD. It's only going to grow. Okay. Now the
Yeah.
contract is what's the catch? The contract is it's going to continue to grow, but they're holding on to the money. It's not as liquid. So you have a
Right.
10-year, a 7-year contract in different states outside of California. There's 15-year contracts. But what happens is you're giving them full control of the money. They can grow
Yes.
it, and then you can grow. You can take out like at least 10% in case you need to be liquid. Okay, so it's
Good.
better. It's better for them to just give a portion where they don't have to touch it, because the more you leave it in there, the more it's going to compound the interest. At 30 years old, he's going to be set.
That's what I explained to him, because he's a young man that makes probably a range of a minimum of 40,000 a month. to
Okay.
70, as much as 70,000 a month selling solar.
Oh,
And so I
okay.
told him his money is consistent month after month. So he probably need the two. The Athene account, as you mentioned, the Athene account is where we wanted to put the lump sum. And
Yeah.
then the global was where we were going to add in like
An
maybe a
IUL.
deposit of $850 in an IUL
There you
because
go.
he's consistent and he'll
Okay, so
end up at 350 anyway.
there you go. That's how you sell the IUL side now. You ask them, what do you have for your retirement plan? What do you have as a tax-free retirement? So that's when you would set up the IUL. So
Got it.
always use your resources. You can put it on GroupMe, but we also have the advanced market sales team with FFL. It's at fflams.com. Create a profile, use your Athene username, and then ask for an illustration, and you'll be good and set.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank
So
you.
just first things first, though, let's make sure that both contracts are there. There's multiple IULs available. Global Atlantic, I have an experience with them. They're good. They're decent. They take a minute. I am still waiting on the policy to be delivered to me so I could deliver it to my client for my Global
Wow.
Atlantic policy. I sold it in May.
Wow. So what would be an alternate?
There's NLG. There's multiple companies. Lafayette is coming out. We have them for IBC for the infinite banking concept. If you have more money that on clients that's willing to throw 20, 30, 40, 50,000 off the bat. There's also North American and there's additional companies, FNG. We have multiple companies. So that's where the FFL AMS comes in. You plug in their information, they will canvas all the products and carriers that we have available, and they'll spit out an illustration for you. So you don't have to do the work. They'll tell you which company is going to be the best suited for them. Once you have that, then the next step is to get contracted. Just make sure you give the client a heads up, like, hey, look, I'm going to look for the best rates for you. Be patient with me because we got a team that's doing the work. Okay.
Right.
So you want to just concept sell. This is what's going to do. This is how it's going to do it. Hang tight.
Sounds good.
There's
Because I
money
have
in
a
the
couple.
way. Yeah.
I have a couple, and that's the best part is they trust me because I'm always talking about multiple streams of income. And as a new agent, they're trusting me because for years I've led them into how to use their house as a bank and, just how to maintain good credit, the 3 C's, cash, credit, collateral. And so these are my clients that I've been talking to for many years. And so some of the agents here, my friend Anthony Ford, he's like, your clients are rich. And I'm like, I don't know that they're rich, but I think that, from me talking to them and encouraging them over the years to create income, different multiple streams of income, I think they trust me a little bit more than the average insurance agent, which I'm really blessed to be a part of that.
That's the best thing is you have the connection, but yeah, you may not know everything, but give them assurance that we are going to cover them and we got your back. So keep at it. Let's go, Linda.
Yes. Thank you.
Way to kill it, Linda.
I'm trying.
Anybody else have any questions? Go ahead and feel free to fire away. Sean, let's highlight you real quick. I know you haven't posted it about it, but Sean made his first sale this morning.
First one. There you go.
First one, right?
Woo!
Yeah. Congrats.
Thank you.
I just want to highlight him because he's been on these Q&A calls. He's picking up things. He's had his issue as a brand new agent, the word tracks, how to get around, how to not get shut down by being associated as a telemarketer. He had a conversation with Greg Warner, who's been killing it on telesales. And then as soon as he finished his conversation, like an hour or so, he had like 3 appointments. And then boom, the next day he made a sale.
Yeah, so, it really was just tweaking what I was saying and how I was saying it and taking what you were saying and implementing it. And then the way that Greg presented it was more relatable to my perception than the way that you were presenting. You were saying the same things, but the way Greg said it was, it just clicked literally within an hour. I had 3 different appointments, and then all day Saturday, I dialed for like 6 hours Saturday. I got like 1,500 calls in, and I've got a full week of appointments. Like I have appointments tomorrow. I have 2 on Wednesday. I've got 2 on Thursday, and I've got 1 on Friday. And I haven't even gotten to dialing yet today.
Nice. So let's talk about that. So what do you think, not to call what you were doing wrong, but what do you think you were missing that Greg fixed or helped you out with that switched your word track?
I wasn't comfortable with the wording on the scripting. I've tried. Shoot, you've sent me probably half a dozen different scripts. I've tried every script I could find off of every FFL team website, and I just couldn't put a word track together that would come out of my mouth naturally.
Okay.
So Greg gave me a couple things, and I was like, that'll work. And then I kind of took some of Thompson's, because that was the most recent script I've been working with, and put them together. And I sat here for, I don't know, a little bit and said it to myself. And then my wife was like, what can I help with? And I said it to her a bunch of times. And then I started doing it on the phone, and probably the 15th or 20th time on the phone, person's like, okay, yep, got it.
That's awesome.
Nice.
So what was it? If you can just expand on it, what were you saying differently now, or what word track played for you or worked for you?
Yeah.
So a lot of the majority of it is Greg's beginning. Let me pull it up. I still haven't memorized it yet, because I got to read it like 1,000 times. So
Greg's
I go
quick.
Yeah, I mean it's instant. He goes, "Hello, John.
Yeah.
This is Sean. I'm a field underwriter with the state of Michigan. We received a notification of benefits, and my job is just to follow up with folks to see if there's a good fit for them. Do you have a few moments?" And it went from, no joke, 19 out of 20 people saying nothing or clicking and hanging up, to all 15 after I started that at least letting me get into it. And the 15th was like, okay, yeah, I need this. It was a lead from April. I think the date on it was April 26th, and it came off Age Lead Store. And she said she talked to people. She's been denied through Americo, Aetna, everybody and their brother, and Prosperity carried her all the way through.
Nice.
There you go. So how's it feel? How did you feel about all the things you went through and the breakthrough now?
It's good, because like I was telling you, I don't typically have challenges with things, right? I pick it up, I'm good to go. Day one, I figure it out. I contracted in May. I really started like working 2 to 3 weeks ago. And then last week I got in just over like 6,000 calls, excluding Saturday. Call tools is obviously a big thing, because you can up your numbers. I'm not dialing 300 a day now. Now I'm dialing 1,200 a day, and being able to put it through, and then having the team there to be like, hey, yep, you're good. And then seeing everybody every day. Hey, I just wrote this. Hey, I just helped this family. Hey, I just helped this lady that has been denied 7 times. And then having the ability to just, like, even during the call today, I think it was probably 6:30 John's time frame. Within minutes, he's texting me back. I'm calling him out. So if you need to text him, he answers anytime.
Yeah. I'm available. I'll wake up. I'll be up all day now. Baby's on the way in 2 days. I won't be sleeping.
That was instrumental. Like I ran into a problem on the app, and John answered right away and helped me pivot and walked me through it live. And it's exactly how I was told it would go. I just needed to put in that little bit of extra effort and become comfortable with the word script.
Nice, dude. Once you have that, it's like sometimes it's just more of a mental barrier for yourself. Like you feel frustrated. You're like, dude, everyone's doing it. So all you got to do is now switch it to the mind state of like, dude, if everyone can do it, I can do it. Okay, what am I missing? That's all you got to have. Instead of beating yourself up or feeling down, like Sean was always texting me. He's saying, dude, I don't fail. I figure it out. As long as you have that mind state, you can't fail in this business. Because if you mess up on one client, dude, there's multiple clients available. You can keep going and keep going.
Agreed.
So yeah, man. So first family down, a couple more. You got a couple of appointments. It's smooth sailing from here on out.
Should be.
Hey,
yeah.
I mean, now I can just create a system and a process that tailors to my schedule and my personality, and I can just keep moving forward. Go ahead. You said something, y'all.
Yeah, I have a question for you. So I know Greg has had a lot of success getting like really cheap leads and then throwing them into call tools. Is that kind of a similar system that you're implementing?
Yes. So I did 2 orders from Age Lead Store. The first one, I was running through call tools, and I didn't have enough numbers running. So I was calling and I was not getting enough answers. So I added more leads in,
And Greg was like, about 900 is a good place to go. And through Age Lead Store, it's about, I think it's like $1,200. So it's not a lot of money realistically in the grand scheme of things. And then it gets it to where, I can do the 1,800 calls a day, because there's that, and it's calling them twice, 2-3 times at a time.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yep.
That's
It's a solid tool to the arsenal.
Yeah, I started using that, but I started using that, but then I didn't have enough leads to have it really make sense. Like there just wasn't enough. Like if you have a lot of leads, then you can get them for a low price, then yeah, it's a perfect combo for that thing, because that thing will just rip through calls.
Right.
Yeah. It'll do if you've got it set up. Let me pull it up real quick. I've got, because that was the other thing Greg tweaked on me. So right now, like today, I haven't started dialing yet, and there's 1,043 in there. But the settings in the campaign is what he tweaked. I had it going 7 channels, which was 7 phone numbers. So it was dialing, but if 2 people pick up, it'll just cancel and go to 1. So if the one that picked up was a voicemail, I'm nowhere.
And I gotta fix John's camera. Keep talking.
So if a voicemail picks up and a human picks up and it defaults to the voicemail, it drops the call. So we dropped it down to 4 channels, and now it's only calling 4 numbers at a time, and that has increased the pickups. Instead of going through 20 numbers and getting 2 calls, I'm picking up 9 to 10.
When it comes to being a new agent or new at this, how are you having? Are you having any difficulties with the paperwork or the just sealing the deal? I mean, because sometimes it's like what I'm looking at is sometimes I think I'm complete with something, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you forgot to do a whole nother page or something. Did you ever have that as an issue?
So I had that happen twice today. During the Americo application, something popped up and I didn't know what the hell it was. I'm sitting on a screen and it's like, you cannot move forward until you do this.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure it out. There's a calculate button down in the bottom right-hand corner that if you don't click the calculate, even though everything's already done, it won't let you move on. And then I got into the prosperity application and I texted John, big red letters across the top, cannot do this, blah, 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 blah. So as somebody that's never done it, I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay. And John's like, no, you're good. Look at the bottom, keep going, don't stop. So it's just like anything with an app. I'm just like fingering stuff until it works.
Yeah. So here's where you're at as a brand new agent, right? Everything is so new that you're afraid to move and you're afraid to make a mistake. Right.
Yep.
And then what's happening is sometimes you with prosperity, there's a big old red font. It's like a whole paragraph compared to the bottom that says you're approved. You're eligible for a level plan. So these are small little things. The more you do an application, sometimes you only need to do it once. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. You can't, most of the applications are e-app now. It's dummy proof. You can't move forward until the next part. If you're ever stuck, use the group me, use your uplines, use the text message, text it right there, and then someone's going to respond. If your uplines in the middle of the presentation themselves or they're tied up, the group me is going to be there. Multiple people are available. Multiple people are doing telesales or in their office or working. So they're going to see it. You'll get like 2 or 3 responses of the same one.
And just to elaborate a little bit on that, just to CYOA a little bit, I'll ask small talk question. Like today when it happened, I asked her, what her son was doing in school. What was he going to do after high school? And that got me through that big red warning. She talked the whole time. I didn't have to say anything. I could focus on it. Still kind of exactly. Yep.
Response for sure.
Yep.
That's awesome.
I like
that. That's smart.
Greg?
And I think a lot of people like are scared to ask questions sometimes out of ego. And I'm not, assuming that that's the case for you, but for me, like, I don't care. Like if I see something I don't know what to do, what I usually do is I do like a screenshot of the screen and I send it to like John. He'll get mad at me because it's probably the 3rd time I've asked him. I'll send it to Cliff. I'll send it to Albert, but I don't care. I don't want to mess up. I'm one of those people where if there's even like a small percentage of doubt in what I'm doing. I want to make sure that I'm doing it correctly because, you know, I value people's time. I value people's, you know, policies, value people's lives. So for me, I'm not scared to ask for help.
Not just that, but think of it this way. the main phrase is don't fumble the bag. Who cares if you're bugging us, dude? You got a client that you're ready to sell. Don't fumble the bag.
Literally,
Facts,
yeah.
facts.
So what Greg does actually,
it's team effort.
yeah, Greg, when he started, when he was, you know, getting things hanging, man, I will show you my call list. He would call me at least 3 to 5 times in that one presentation. He would be on the line with the client. He'd put me on speaker. I'd talk to the client. He'd stuck on this, can't move forward to this. It happens. But understand, when you're brand new, this is only going to happen when you're brand new. Once you start rolling, you're off and running. Look at that.
This is me and John's text. I mean, it'll just roll. It'll just keep going.
But
I
you
text him
remember,
at like 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm awake. I know he's not, but as soon as I know when he wakes up because he answers my message.
yeah, just keep going.
Yep.
It won't be an issue.
Yeah, I also had a issue where I signed up a client and she told me that she wanted the draft to come out on the 8th of the month.
Okay.
And I know I typed in the 8th of the month. And then she got a notice saying that she was overdrafted in her account because they took it right out. So I was like, how much was that? I'll give you the money back. So I forwarded her $40 for the inconvenience. But it was my lesson, you know. So apparently when they give you the routing number and everything, they'll just, I guess, directly do that automatically.
No. So which carrier did you use?
I think she was with Aetna.
Okay, so on Aetna, the difficult part for the new agent, so there's a draft date, a chosen monthly draft date, and there's an effective date. So the difficult part is you have to choose the effective date to start it on the 8th, not her normal 8th. Every 8th of the month. So that's where you could have had a mistake on. And the difficult part is per carrier, each carrier has a different time where you put the effective date. Like Aetna, it starts at the beginning. So it'll ask you, when do you want the start date on the quoting tool? So by the time you got to the bank account information, it's just asking you, do you want it on the 8th or do you want it on the effective date? It doesn't tell you when to put it. It was at the start. With Americo does it on the product section, not the bank question. Okay, so you have to choose on the product, choose the effective date, which is the third I would say line or third page compared to the 10th or 11th page on the bank account. So a lot of new agents, they get confused on the bank account information. They can't change it because you got to go to the product. Same thing with Prosperity. Prosperity does it on the bank part. Okay, and then you could choose the initial draft date. Mutual is a little bit easier because it tells you right there and then, when do you want it? Initial draft date or a future draft date? So each carrier gets a little tricky. So it's not your fault, but I mean, I'm glad you helped out the client.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
you learn right there. You learn right there.
Yeah.
I'll share you something. I'll share you something. So Americo actually allows you to do a back date. A back date is, I could start it the month before. If we're in August, right? Let's say your birthday was in July 30th or July 28th. I can actually, even though I'm seeing you right now, I'm selling you right now, I can set it up to start last month. And I could draft you on July and August so that you save date on your birthday. So you save future premiums. So on my effective date, I accidentally did that. I chose a previous date and I saw the client on March. She wanted it to come out on like March 8th, but on the calendar, I didn't even notice. I chose February 8th. So she got drafted immediately instead of forward. I lost the sale. It happens. You learn. But yeah, so little things happen. Don't be afraid to make mistakes though.
I definitely almost lost her because she had her son who also had an account that was pending. And she's like, well, I'm going to wait on that one because I'm not sure if you've done this right. And I'm like, I'm sure I did.
Yeah.
So today's the 8th. We'll see what happens with the second one.
There you go.
Hey, also sometimes I try to keep my composure when I mess up too. I'm like, oh yeah, I thought that would be okay for you. It's usually better to do that, but I can reverse that for you if that, like, I double down, because sometimes sometimes they question your professionalism, they question your credibility when you do make mistakes. So you have to kind of like address the rebuttal or the mistake with a little bit of composure to make them feel safe, make them feel comfortable. Obviously don't lie, but
Right.
you don't want to, be like, oh, I'm so sorry, and just like, begging them. So,
Yeah.
just like subtle things like that.
Well,
Yeah, sometimes too.
I
Just
thank
the
God that
curious.
most of my clients so far has been people that I know. So I haven't even done one phone, all of the leads and things like that. I haven't had to do that just yet.
Okay.
So
That's your
thank
next
God
goal.
for that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so I'm
it's a good thing
practicing
and
on
it's a
people
bad
I know.
thing. It's a good thing and a bad thing, right? So while you're building, you do have a lot of network and clientele that you possess. But
Yes.
think of it as a big business, right? If you have that, if you're recruiting and you're duplicating yourself, can that be
Yes.
duplicatable when your other agents don't have that access, right? If you
Right.
have affluent clients. So that's where you want to have a mastery into this business. You want to have a mastery of all across the board. If you're good at IULs, if you're good at calling leads, because then when you bring in someone, you got to be able to train them in that method. Okay.
You're
So
exactly right. Those were the questions to the three ladies that are coming in now. They're not as outgoing as I am and communicative. So they're
Yep.
like, so what do we do? I'm like, oh, don't worry, we got a team here. So I thank God for Yoel. I thank God for Misha, who's here, and Albert, but Misha's here almost every day. So
there he is
here
behind
he
you.
is right there. Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank God for Misha. It's the thing. Say hi to everybody.
He's such a suck up. I hate Misha.
Look, it's
Nothing.
the team. They're doing
Nothing. I
a
didn't say
live
anything. For what?
for questions. He's like, for what? For what?
We got one
Anyway.
more. We got one more question before we wrap up. Anybody else have anything they want to go over? All right, so this is going to be, we're going to wrap it up. This is going to be broadcasted live on Instagram on Friday at noon Pacific time. If you guys have any specific questions you guys want us to cover, please reply on there, add a comment, add any questions, and we'll reply and we'll advise on that on the next Monday's call. All right, so thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next week on Monday. Billy.